Hey everyone, Teo here. This is the artist comparison review for the various tablets released in 2023 that can be used to create digital art, that can be used for digital drawing. To make this video short, I will just give you a quick rundown on the pros and cons for each tablet that I have here. And if you are interested to find out more, you can watch my full artist reviews, which I will link in the video description below. So let's see, what do we have here? That's the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9. This is the iPad Pro, the OnePlus Pad, the Xiaomi Pad 6, the Huawei Mate Pad Pro, and there's also the Microsoft Surface Pro and the Huion Canvas Studio 16. Just to give you the bottom line up front, the best portable tablet with the best drawing performance among all the tablets that I have mentioned is the Huion Canvas Studio 16, which runs Windows, and that pen display computer has the best pen performance. But the downside for that is the battery life is just 4 to 5 hours. Now in second place for drawing performance, we have the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9, the iPad Pro and all the various iPads, and the Microsoft Surface Pro, the one with that supports the Microsoft Slim Pen 2. So these three tablets are in second place, tied for drawing performance. The main downside for the Samsung, Apple, and Microsoft tablets is they are quite pricey, which is why there are budget options here. Okay, let me give you the rundown on the Tab S9. These are the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 series tablets, which are available in 3 sizes, and this applies to the previous model as well, the Tab S8. So this is the 11-inch Tab S9, the 12.4-inch Tab S9 Plus, and the 14.6-inch Tab S9 Ultra. Now this big tablet here is what I would consider a tabletop tablet. So you will probably have to set this down on a table to write or to draw with this, or set this down on a stand, because this is not a tablet that you can hold in hand and draw. You will have to put this tablet down on something. As for these two tablets, you can still kind of hand hold them and use them, especially for this 11-inch. This is extremely portable. I would say the surface area for all these tablets are comfortable for drawing, so it doesn't really matter which tablet you get for drawing. But if you want to use the tablet for other things, such as if you want to use the tablet as a wireless external display, if you use split screen mode very often, if you use Samsung DeX on the tablet itself, then go with the larger displays. But if you value portability, go with the 11-inch or the 12.4-inch. Now all these tablets come with the Samsung S Pen. This is the only pen out of all the digital pens that is not powered by battery, and you can find alternatives to this pen as well. You can get the Wacom One pen, the Staedtler Norris Digital, or the Lamy AL Star EMR pens. All those pens can work with this tablet. The drawing performance of the Samsung S Pen is fantastic. This pen has good support for tilt, pressure sensitivity, and palm rejection. You can draw thin lines very easily, even with a thick brush that is selected. You will not be able to go wrong with the Samsung S Pen. The drawing experience is just terrific. And this pen features a soft nib, so some people like the soft nib because when you tap on the display, it doesn't make that sharp tapping sound. This, by the way, is my very messy desk. So the Samsung tablet and the Samsung S Pen is definitely capable of creating professional art, because the line quality you can get from this pen is predictable and consistent. There is one side button on the pen which is customizable with many drawing apps, so that can be useful. The tablet comes with 8 to 12 gigs of RAM depending on which model you get, and that is a lot. And there is a micro SD card slot, so you don't have to worry about storage. The hardware from this tablet is fantastic, so the downside is probably just the pricing, because these tablets are quite pricey. The 11-inch model is $799 US. This is $999. This is $1,199. I will talk more about the differences between Android versus iPad OS versus Windows at the end of the video. Next, let's talk about the iPads, which are available in different sizes as well, from 8.3-inch iPad mini to the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. And the drawing performance of the Apple Pencil, both Apple Pencil 1 and Apple Pencil 2, is fantastic, so you can expect consistent, predictable performance across all the different models of iPad. The drawing experience will differ depending on the feature of that specific iPad. The Apple Pencil has good support for tilt, pressure sensitivity, and palm rejection. And for Apple Pencil 2, you can attach it by the side of the tablet for charging and for pairing. And there is the tapping shortcut, which is customizable with many drawing apps. So the drawing performance with this is very consistent and predictable as well. So I've used this very thick brush to draw this drawing, and I can get those thin lines even with a thick brush selected. And I can tilt the brush to get those dry brush effects. So this is the sketch that I have created using the app Infinite Painter. Now, if you get the base model iPad, iPad 9 or iPad 10, the display is not laminated, so there is a gap between the LCD and the glass. There is minimal parallax because the tablet is small, and parallax is usually not an issue. It's just that when you tap the Apple Pencil on the tablet, the tapping sound sounds hollow. With the M2 iPad Pro, Apple has added this hover feature where you can preview the brush cursor when the Apple Pencil is near the display. So this feature is not available with the older iPads. Because the drawing performance of the Apple Pencil is consistent across different models and across different generations of models, you can actually go with refurbished iPads to save some money. And you can choose the different iPads based on the features that they have, such as whether the display is laminated, whether the display has any anti-reflective coating, whether there are 2 or 4 speakers, and whether the refresh rate is 120 Hz. So yeah, if you have the budget, go with the iPad Pro. If you want value for money, go with the refurbished models. Next, we have the OnePlus Pad, which features an 11.6-inch display with a 7:5 aspect ratio, which I really like because this is very usable in both landscape and in portrait orientation for drawing. The tablet is $479 US, and the pen is sold separately for $99. So we are looking at a total of $580. And for the price you pay, you get 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. There is no micro SD card slot, so you only have 128 gigs of storage, which to me is not a lot. The OnePlus Stylo has good support for tilt, pressure sensitivity, and palm rejection, and I can draw the diagonal lines without any wobble or jitter. And this is how thick the brush really is, and I can draw thin lines even with a thick brush that is selected. This 11.6-inch display is a very comfortable size to work with for drawing. Even if you have one column of palettes by the side here, you still get a lot of space left over to work with. The main problem I have with the OnePlus Stylo is with tilt sensitivity, and if you use tilt brushes, this is an instant deal breaker. So I can draw thin and thick lines with pressure. If I tilt the brush, I can get the broad strokes, but this is not the look that I am looking for because there is some issue with the tilt. And sometimes when I tilt the pen, I don't even see anything. Yeah, so right now I'm pressing down real hard to get the darker shades, and this is not 100% black like this. It should be 100% black, but it's not. Let me show you another issue. So if I tilt the pen halfway while drawing, okay, it goes into the tilt mode, which is great. Let's try again. So as I tilt the pen now, you can see tilt does not work. Let me tilt the pen first. Okay, pressure doesn't work that great. And hold the pen vertically. Okay, it goes back to the thin lines. Let me tilt the pen again. Notice I am not able to get the broad strokes. The thick lines that you see here is not because of tilt, it's because I pressed down hard. So these are actually pressure lines, not tilt lines. Let me show you how that tilt brush is supposed to behave. So we have thin lines, thick lines, we have the broad strokes, and this is darker compared to what I see here. And I can get the thin lines, the thick lines, and tilt the brush to get the broad strokes and get the thin lines again, get the broad strokes again, thin lines again, broad strokes again. This is something I cannot do with the OnePlus Stylo because the pen has some issues with tilt sensitivity. If you don't use tilt brushes for drawing, it's fine, but I do, so that is actually a deal breaker for me. Now the drawing performance of this pen is good for casual drawing. It's just the issue with the tilt that affects me because I actually do use tilt brushes. And this pen is also powered by battery, and you can charge it by placing it here, and this will pair and charge the pen. And there is the tapping shortcut, which unfortunately does not work with many drawing apps. Next, we have the 11-inch Xiaomi Pad 6 with the Xiaomi Smart Pen Gen 2. There is also the Xiaomi Pad 6 Pro, which is more powerful, but for drawing purposes, you can just get the Pad 6, which is more affordable. And this tablet is around US $350, and you get 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. There is no micro SD card slot, so don't get the tablet with 128 gigs of storage. This pen is sold separately for about US $50 to $60 on AliExpress, so we are looking at a total of maybe 400 US or maybe 410 US dollars. And this is actually a pretty good deal for casual drawing. Let me show you the line quality. Now this pen is powered by battery and has 2 side buttons here, which are unfortunately not customizable with many drawing apps. You can pair and charge the pen by attaching it to the side of the tablet. This is actually the bottom side. I have it turned upside down because I'm using the folio as a stand. So let me show you the diagonal line test. Let me just erase this first. The Xiaomi Smart Pen Gen 2 suffers from diagonal line wobble or jitter when you're drawing those lines slowly, like what I'm doing right now. So this obviously will affect accuracy. So if you want to draw straighter lines, you either have to draw faster like this. So now the lines are smoother and straighter with less wobble. Or you can increase the smoothness of the line. I'm using 5 out of 20. So now I'm going to draw the same diagonal line but slower. And I can still see slight jitter, but this is slightly better compared to the first try. So all I have to do is to draw a bit faster. Okay, I can still see slight jitter, so I may have to increase this smoothing to maybe 10. So let me just undo again. Yep, so with smoothness up to 10 over 20, the lines are straighter. But you can see noticeable latency has been introduced. So yeah, that's the issue with the Xiaomi Smart Pen. There is diagonal line wobble and jitter. And if you increase the smoothness for the lines, you get latency, more noticeable latency. Now it's still possible to draw with the pen, you just have to work with, well, the limitations. Pressure sensitivity works fine. Let's look at tilt sensitivity. So this is the same brush that I was using earlier with the OnePlus pad. I can get thin and thick lines, and I can get the broad strokes. So this is actually better than the OnePlus pad. Okay, if I tilt the pen halfway while drawing the thin lines, I can get the broad strokes. This is the Huawei Mate Pad Pro and M Pencil 2. Now this tablet is actually an old model. I have reviewed the recent Mate Pad 11 2023, and I'm going to show you the line test on the screen right now. So the pen actually has pretty good performance. I was able to get the thin lines easily, and there is no noticeable or significant wobble or jitter with the slow diagonal lines. I was able to get the lines to taper quite well, and the line transition from thin to thick is quite smooth. I'm quite hesitant to recommend the Huawei Mate Pad because there is no Google Play Store pre-installed. The App Store is the Huawei App Gallery, and each time you launch the App Gallery there is this ad. It is possible to install Google Play Store by searching for this app called G-Space, and you can install Google Play Store with the help of this app, which I have done so. And the problem is sometimes those apps that I have installed this way, such as Gmail, Chrome, YouTube, or other apps like Kindle, Prime Video, Amazon, they don't update automatically, and sometimes they don't update at all from the Google Play Store. So that's the issue I have with the Huawei Mate Pad tablets. The battery life for all the tablets that I have just shown you is pretty good. You can get at least 8 hours with most of the tablets here. Some of the tablets actually have longer battery life, such as this Xiaomi Pad 6, which can go up to 14 hours, which is quite incredible. Alright, unfortunately, I have already sold off the Huion Canvas Studio 16 Windows tablet and the Microsoft Surface Pro 8. I did not review the Microsoft Surface Pro 9, so I cannot show you those Windows tablets in this video. What I can say is the Huion Canvas Studio 16 has the best pen performance compared to the iPad and also the Samsung tablet and the Microsoft Surface Pro. But the downside to that tablet is the 4 to 5 hour battery life. Now, there are other little things about that tablet I want to talk about, but it's going to make this video way too long, so I highly recommend you check out that full artist review instead. As for the Microsoft Surface Pro, it's a good tablet with drawing performance on par with the iPad and the Samsung Galaxy tablet. And now I want to talk about the OS, iPad OS versus Android versus Windows. If you want versatility, go with Windows OS because it's a desktop OS. It can do things that these tablets cannot do. And between the iPad and the Android OS, the main advantage of the iPad is there are more high quality apps that can handle vector, typography, and text and layout. For vector graphic design on the iPad, there is Adobe Illustrator, Affinity Designer, Affinity Publisher for page publishing. There is Armadin, and there is Vectornator, which is now called Curve. These two are for vector illustrations. So these apps are pretty high quality apps, and you cannot find apps like this from the Google Play Store, which is such a shame because the Samsung tablets are really powerful. But for visual content creators, sometimes you do need to use these vector graphic design apps that can handle typography, layout, text, and vector. Let's look at the Samsung tablet and maybe this app. So this is Vector Ink, which is a vector graphic design app, but the features that you get with this app is nowhere near the features that you can get with Adobe Illustrator or Affinity Designer. And this app, by the way, is subscription based, so you will have to pay monthly, and if you stop paying, you lose access to the files that you have created. There are many capable drawing apps from the Apple App Store and from the Google Play Store. So in terms of drawing capability, you will not be missing out if you go with an Android tablet or a Windows tablet. Now, Procreate, the most popular app on the iPad, is not available on Android or Windows because that app is iPad exclusive. Now, personally for me, I prefer to use apps that run on multiple platforms. For example, I prefer to use Infinity Painter instead because I can open Infinity Painter files on both iPad and on the Android tablet. I like to use Concepts because I can open the file on the Android tablet and on Windows. I like to use Medibank Paint because the file is saved to the cloud, and Medibank Paint runs on iPad, Android, Windows, and Mac OS. So I don't actually use Procreate that much on the iPad simply because Procreate is exclusive to the iPad. I don't like to use apps that are specific to specific OS. The last thing I want to mention is, out of all the tablets that I have mentioned in this video, the Samsung tablet is the only tablet with the AMOLED display. So AMOLED displays typically have PWM, pulse width modulation, and people with sensitive eyes may be affected by PWM. So if you want to buy a Samsung tablet, I would recommend you check out the Samsung tablet in store if you can before you buy it. But personally for me, I have no issues with AMOLED displays. AMOLED displays, by the way, have better contrast compared to LCD displays, but LCD displays, the good ones, can look really good, and these are all good LCD displays. Alright, I wasn't able to cover everything I want to say for these tablets because that will make this video 2 or 3 hours long. So if you want to find or check out the full reviews for all these tablets, just visit the links that I have for you in the video description below.